Hi there. One question I get all the time is I'm a people pleaser and I'm really bad at setting boundaries, and I've heard all about how to do it, but I really don't feel like I'm doing a good job of it. So how do I do that? How do I set boundaries? I think there's more to it than just how I say it, or how do I like defend my boundary? And I think you're right. There is more to it. Hi, I'm Dr. Julie, a psychologist and relationship coach, and today we're going to talk about the idea of loving detachment and how that plays into doing a better job of setting healthy boundaries. So, what is loving detachment? Well, loving detachment is the idea that we can still love somebody and detach ourselves from being responsible for what they feel and how they think. Without loving detachment, we get really wrapped up in the outcomes of our interactions with other people. We start to feel like it's our responsibility if they're happy, if they had a good time. It's our responsibility if they go to make a decision and they're going to make a mistake, because we need to tell them that they're making a mistake. So we need to tell people what they should do because it's in their own best interest, because we're responsible for how they behave. Now, this idea of taking too much responsibility can actually start to look a little bit like being controlling. And from some perspectives, it can look like being very selfish. And I know that's like, oh my God, I'm a people pleaser. I'm never selfish, or I'm actually really afraid I'm always being selfish, right? Um, it's what happens here is that we're having an emotional reaction to the idea that our friend is unhappy or going to experience the negative consequence of something. And so we dive in to stop that from happening so we don't feel bad. And that's how it starts to stray into being selfish, because we're sort of imposing our own needs and perspectives on other people. And you don't want to do that, right? So you're going to care enough to engage with other people around what's going on with them, but you're going to let them decide what's best for them and let them experience the consequences of that decision, whether it's good or bad. That is what healthy boundary setting is. It's here's how I feel and what I want. I'm going to let you decide what's best for you, and I'm going to let you experience the consequences of your decisions and actions, but I'm still going to be your friend. And if you need my help, I will be here. Okay. But you're not going to impose your help, and you're not going to tell people how they should be living their lives. It's This is one of the core practices of being a recovering people pleaser, right? It's because as a people pleaser, we take too much responsibility for how other people feel. We're also way too dependent on other people agreeing with us or thinking we're being a good friend. And we are way too avoidant of conflict. And so this loving detachment is going to like push all those buttons, right? It's potentially going to allow us to say things that other people might not agree with. And then we're going to have to tolerate the discomfort of worrying that what we just said upset somebody, and that what happens if they go have a bad experience? Is that my fault? Right. And so it's going to push all of the buttons that we're trying to avoid being pushed as a people pleaser. Now, it's going to challenge your idea about what being a good friend, sister, daughter, mother, or partner is all about. Use that challenge to consider what your role is in people's lives. Are you trying to be their savior? Are you trying to make sure that they're happy and nothing bad happens to them? Now, maybe those words would never come out of your mouth because there's some part of you who knows that that's not really true. But in your heart, like the feelings you get when those things happen, when your friends aren't happy and you feel like it's your fault if you said something that upset them, or if something happened to them and you knew that it would and you didn't say anything, like, or if you're hosting a party and you served something to somebody that they didn't like, right? Like you feel really bad about that. Let's challenge that for a second. What is your responsibility here? Is it your responsibility to save people from things that they don't like? or their own bad decisions. As an adult, it is not your responsibility. If you're the parent of a toddler, it would be your responsibility, but not as an adult. Not so adults are responsible for their own lives and their own decisions. And it's important to let people experience the consequences of their decisions and their actions. When you're trying to implement loving detachment, and you haven't tried it before, it can often feel a little isolating. And that's because you don't know how to do it very well. So I'm going to warn you about this up front so that hopefully you can go, oh, I'm feeling a little disconnected here. So this is how to move out of that. It can feel a little disconnecting or isolating because we're so used to being so like engaged and emotionally close, almost enmeshed in some cases, right? We can be a little bit too up in other people's business, right? And so if you pull back from that, it's going to possibly feel a little like, well, am I really their friend? Am I in this relationship? Like it can feel very isolating or detached. But that's not what when you're doing this right, that's not actually how it should feel all the time. So here's how to do it. Let's say your friend wants to talk to you about something and you know that they're going to make a decision that isn't going to be in their best interest. And you know this is going to happen because you've seen it come, and this is like a repeat pattern. So you kind of have this in your head, right? So what you want to do here is you want to keep your mind focused on the idea that they can make whatever decision they want. Okay, it's up to them. And your job is to maybe let them know that you don't think that's the best decision they could be making, but also that they're free to make whatever decision they want, and that you'll be here to talk with them about what happened when they get back. Okay. Now, I have one little caveat to this. Obviously, if your friend or family member is talking about hurting themselves or somebody else, then intervention is required, and you need to not feel like, oh, they get to go make whatever decision they feel is best for them. Hurting themselves or someone else is not a good decision. So, and I mean physically hurting themselves. I don't mean like um, go out and do something that isn't good for them, like eating a food that they know they shouldn't be eating. Like that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about here suicide, homicide kind of level of stuff. You need to intervene. Otherwise, people need to experience the consequences of their actions. So now that you've thought about this, I've kind of introduced this idea of loving detachment, this idea that you kind of let people experience the consequences of their behavior and you love them through that. What is the scariest thing you think might happen if you practice this with somebody? Drop your answer in the comments so I can see what kinds of things you guys are out there dealing with. Now, while there's a lot of advice on setting boundaries and how to set boundaries and what kind of boundaries to set, it's pretty uncommon to hear a conversation about loving detachment and how that goes along with boundary setting. But if you combine it with boundary setting, you can actually engage with somebody around or through the boundary and yet kind of stay to your own side of the fence and let them live their lives and make their decisions the way they want to. To help you out on your self-care journey, I've got a great tip sheet on saying it right, your guide to confident communication. It's yours free. You can find the link for it down in the description. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button, share it with your friend. And if you want to be notified the next time I post a video, please hit that notification button. And don't forget to subscribe. Take care and have an amazing week.